Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is Wasabi. This is a battle on the Abbey map in the KV-220-2, which is the Tier 5 Soviet premium heavy tank. Today we're heading to see if we can complete the mission HT-7. This mission is quite complex in that it's got 4 separate conditions that need to be met. Most missions only have 1 or 2 conditions, and as a result it can be tricky to get this completed. So this is a guide to how I managed to do it. So the first condition is the fundamental one, that you need to participate either in the capture of the enemy base or participate in the defense of your own base. The second one is that you need to win by capping or by destroying all enemy vehicles. The third is that you need to do a minimum of 1,000 hit points of damage, and the fourth is that you need to kill at least 2 vehicles. So if you miss out on any one of those conditions, then you won't achieve the mission. Anyway, so we're heading off to the 1-2 line, which is the traditional place for heavy tanks to go. It's fairly corridor based, so you can use your frontal armour and limited chances to flank. But anyway, we're following an M4A1, which is played by one of the human players here, and that sort of introduced the point that we're on the ANZ server, which has AI players. You can see which ones they are in the player lists with a colon in front and after their names, and in this particular view they're grey coloured. That lovely coloured thing I've got from Aslan's mod pack. Anyway, the M4A1 has just put a massive hit into an M7 for 423, which indicates he's got the dirt gun, but he's now being attacked by 2 tanks, so we're going to try and keep them up here. And we managed to kill the M7. Well, we're just going to keep pushing on. We want to use our momentum and continue down. It's not a very fast tank, so yeah, you need to basically try and keep moving if you're trying to get from one end of the map to the other. But as we reach the centre of the map, there's always an opportunity to target enemy tanks that are trying to head into the Abbey. So we see there's a T40, T60 that's been spotted, and managed to put a couple of shots into him. But as he goes dark, there's no point hanging around. Again, our goal is to try and get down to the enemy cap. And as we're doing this, we notice there's a Matilda that's been spotted, just as I cleverly drive into a rock. So we're going to make sure that we deal with that Matilda, and part of that, I've already made that decision to load premium ammo given the very strong frontal armour of the Matilda. And the Matilda is also quite a threat of a tank in that it's got a fast firing gun with good penetration, just has fairly low alpha, but with the DPM that's got, it can really destroy tanks fairly quickly if it gets the opportunity. So we put some shots into it. We're not necessarily angled ideally, but anyway, I'll set that tank. So he's already managed to do some damage, and he'll continue to do so. So we're trying to make sure that we pull down his health as quickly as possible. You can hear the mod pack that I'm using has got a fairly annoying sound to tell I'm reloaded, and that's basically, yeah, just haven't used this mod pack for a long time, so I'm just going through some choices there to come up with something probably a bit better. Now at this point in the game, I've seen in the display that there's 3 enemy tanks on our cap, which is obviously a real threat, and in a heavy tank, I'm not sure that we'll get back in time when 3 are on, but luckily it's already been reset by some of our tanks that managed to take the middle. Nonetheless, I've noticed that there's 2 KV-1 heavy tanks on the cap, which again, big threat with their armour, that they might be able to resist, you know, whatever's being thrown at them from the centre if they're fairly lightly gunned. So we are heading back, and we're going to commit to heading back. But we do notice that the M10 BFM on the enemy team is in the centre. Just seeing if there's an opportunity to shoot him, but I realise that he's on the other far side of the Abbey, so that's not going to work. So we're going to push on to the cap. Now, at this point, it's a fairly balanced game. We're about equal on tanks destroyed. So I'd say the game is still in the balance, and I do get lit as I go there. That's probably the M10 that's come back to have a look, or one of the other enemy tanks, I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll push on. The mod pack, as you saw, there's a configuration that allows you to specify that the light stays on for as long as you're technically lit, assuming that you're only seen at that one point. It gives you an idea of when you can safely peek out again from cover or whatever you might have been in. So we're going to stop at this point here. We've got a window here that potentially we can shoot at the tanks on our cap, but all the tanks there have gone dark, so we're going to continue around. So the tanks in the centre of the Abbey, you'll be trying to spot them, and we noticed that they light up a KV-1, one of the two KV-1s, so we're going to try and put a shot into him. And we'll just back away in case we get spotted. And he's gone dark again, so our view range is not that good, but then conversely his view range is not that good either, so we're probably right on the edge of each other's view range. However, I got spotted then, so it's a bit unclear whether it was the KV-1 after I was shooting, or some other tank potentially that hasn't been spotted yet. So now just waiting to see whether they get spotted any further, but nothing happens, so I'm just going to push on. I'm just trying to keep my tank angled so that we're likely to bounce any incoming rounds, but obviously you're always taking a risk when you come around that corner. I'm just going to head down and get under the guns of the tanks there, and we can see that they are visible to us now. And we're just going to head up the ramp and see if we can put some shots in. See if we can eliminate these two tanks, then that gives us a very good chance to win the game. So one of them already gets taken out by the T-67 on our team, who's having a good game so far. 5, I think, so he's getting towards his top gun. And again, we switch back to premium to do the frontal armour of the KV-1. And he's just managed to track us at this point, so hasn't really been able to do much damage. And the T-67 comes up from behind and manages to finish him off, which gives him his top gun, which is an excellent result. So we are now going to push around, and we're looking for the last known spot of B1. There's one human player left on the enemy team. That would be a priority, but we expect the T-67 is going to go in that direction, being the much faster vehicle, and I'm going to try and deal with the tanks in the middle. So as we're heading down this way, we notice Valentine 2 becomes visible. We're spotting each other, and so I'm going to head around and deal with that. The Valentine 2 is just recently put down a tier, I think, and I've still got relatively strong frontal armour. So we're just auto-aiming at the moment while we're on the move, but we'll switch to standard aim when we need to more deliberately target where we're shooting to avoid the strong points in that tank. Now, luckily he's moving in reverse, so he's not moving all that fast, and we can keep attacking him while he's moving. And finally we finish him off. So we're now going to push into the part of the town next to the Abbey. Look for any remaining tanks. We can just see in the background the Panzer 4H, which is the last remaining human player on the enemy team, who's just being attacked by the T-67 and who's killed him. And we find the T-80 tank, it is actually, not T-60, that was spotting me earlier, and finish him off. And then we notice the B1 is actually coming down the centre road, and we hurriedly aim a shot there, but it doesn't manage to find the target. So we're going to turn around and try and find the B1 as he's coming down the road. At this point, get invited to a dynamic platoon with the T-67, and I accept that because it gives us a chance to get Brothers in Arms award and the crucial contribution, which is based on the number of tanks that you collectively kill. And yeah, heading towards the B1 as he's coming down. He's facing the T-67, so we'll just hurriedly come around in this lumbering heavy tank. Managed to get one shot in, and he gets killed by the T-67, which is the end of the game. So excellent result there. And we've managed to meet all the conditions of the HT-7. So as you can see, we managed to participate in the defense of our base with that shot on the KV-1. We've done more than 1,000 hit points of damage. We've won, and we killed more than 2 tanks. And as part of that, I get the crucial contribution level 2 decal for this tank, which is nice. And you can see the overall result there. We managed to make 146,000 credits and over 5,000 XP on the daily double. We get 1 bond for the steel wall, and you see the medals from the platooning. We finished with 1398 base. Now that could be close to an ace in a lot of tanks, but obviously this tank's been played pretty well across the board, so the ace is a bit higher, and I managed to ace it previously, which is good. And you can see there we made 36 shots and 32 hit with 22 penetrations, and we got over 80,000 extra from the various missions, so that was our result. So thanks for watching, and we hope you learned something from this.